Hey everyone, welcome to episode 5 of the trading series of 0.1 to 1 whole Bitcoin. We're going over the progress that we've made on this challenge so far, and what coins have done well, what coins haven't, and what our plans are moving forward. So make sure to stick around. And for those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ben. I've made over 6 figures trading crypto. I'm on a journey to 10K a month of passive income to spend more time with friends and family, and I want to help you all do the same. Let's go. Alright, here we are on our Bittrex account. And here are some of the coins and their Satoshi prices. And for the reveal, where we're at, last episode we were at 0.14, and the highest beforehand we've seen on this challenge was 0.165. And we officially broke 0.2 Bitcoin as of yesterday, and as high as 0.202 today. And the reason it's a little bit under is just because Bitcoin's gone on a little rally this morning, from about 22,000 to 23,600. So some of those altcoins have lost a little bit against Bitcoin in that time. So it's pretty awesome to finally break that 0.2. We're officially double from where we began about 8 or 9 months ago. And it's awesome to see the progress finally happening. And really a lot of progress has been made in the past month. And as this account grows bigger, like it's at 0.2 right now, it'll be even quicker to get to 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, and so on. And one of the big key things to notice here is how much Bitcoin I'm actually holding since we're this far ahead in the challenge. So I'm actually holding about half of the account in Bitcoin, and that's been my goal this entire series, is to have about half the account in Bitcoin, unless we do see a big drop in prices and I see amazing buys for altcoins, then I won't have as much Bitcoin. Moving on to the biggest winners in the past couple months. First one is NMR. Now the crazy thing is I was kind of just adding to this position a little bit here and there, and I had all my sell orders from previous resistance and previous charts. So like looking back, the highest that I'd seen it go was about 0.0009, or about 90,000 satoshis, and that was as you can see, these little wicks all the way up there. That happened so many times since starting the challenge, really, that that was my highest sell point. My highest sell was at 84,000 satoshis, and I sold all the way up, and it went from 40,000 satoshis all the way up to 80,000 satoshis in like a single day. And then I was like, okay, sweet, I'm gonna rebuy once it gets down to 50,000, 40,000 again. And then the next day it did another double, went from 80,000 all the way up to 160,000 satoshis. So of course I sold early, but that's okay. But now seeing that it can actually go this high, the next time I do rebuy this position, I will set my sell orders even higher than I thought previous. So you can see there's a wick up to 100,000 a couple times, and that 150, 160,000 would be my last selling point. And something to notice as well is I'm trying to wait until under 50,000 to rebuy my position, because any sales that I made at like 80,000 satoshis, it would make essentially 60% or more, or even 100% if I rebought at the perfect time. So my orders are the way down at 40,000 satoshis. Some of those profits I move into other coins, and then I'll use that to rebuy. So I could technically rebuy part of this position with the amounts that I sold at 70,000 or 84,000. I could rebuy that and I would still profit about 30 to 40%, but I want to be extra patient with this and rebuy when it's oversold again. All right, next up, you're going to see a similar story happening here of me selling early, but that happens all the time. So Loom had an amazing day. I actually got pretty lucky with some of these wicks, but Loom, as you can see in my previous orders, I sold some at 228 satoshis, and then this wick right here where it went down to about 160, 150 satoshis, I hit 2 buy orders in the middle of the night and rebought 2 positions for 4,000 more Loom, and then sold that right away when I woke up at 234, and then it came down again, hit partial order for about half of the position, so 1,000, and then I resold that at 234 and 229 again, and thinking it would come back down, and then it goes all the way up to 350 satoshis. So another lesson learned, that my sell orders were a little too low and I need to bump up those prices that I have. And that's what I did with some of these other coins, as I'll show you later on. And then GLM as well, I sold out completely. I hit all my sell orders, and then I'm being very patient to rebuy. So these sells happened in the middle of June, and I'm waiting for around 900 and lower to rebuy this position. It did go all the way down to 600 before, and so I placed an order down there just in case we see a big drop. And then Steam is about the same. I actually bought Steam. I would say I got pretty lucky when I bought it, because I bought it around where its low points were, and I picked it up around 860, and then 790 I picked up more, and then I started selling at 900, 1000, 1100, and then rebought at 960, and then sold another 245 at 1100, and then 1300 was my last sell, and then I rebought at about 960 and 1000. And then I'm waiting to rebuy lower again at 800 and about 900 and 800. And then I have my sells at about 1400, where it kind of peaked, and then 1200. Here's the last one that I sold the earliest out of all of them and completely underestimated it. And this is Solve. I had some previous trades with it. As you can see, those little wicks, which look really small, it went up to about 200 a few times, and I caught some like 20-30% bounces. So I sold some at 181, rebought at 158, and then I added more at 148, then sold some at 173 and 189, and then rebought at 154, sold at 170, rebought at 158, and then these two sell orders that I had were at 189 and 229. And it absolutely destroyed those and went all the way up to about 400 Satoshis. So far exceeding almost double my last sell as well, and just went absolutely crazy. And so it's currently at about 240 Satoshis, and I'm waiting for it to get under probably like 180 or even lower to even start rebuying. And so I still got another 30% or so before I rebuy this position. But if I do end up rebuying this, I'll set my orders at like 250, 300, and probably 350. And then probably have a crazy order at like 600 Satoshis. Now for some of the coins that haven't really done much, I would say Celo is one of them, where it hasn't really, as you can see in the past month, it hasn't really went up or down that much. It's kind of been trading sideways. Like in June, in the month of June, you could have had a couple 10% trades or 20% trades with these wicks, going from about 4,500 to about 5,000 or 5,500. But lately it's kind of just been trading sideways. So when I say it's been one of the worst performing, it's just in this short term. It hasn't done much recently, but I think in the future it'll do well, and it could have these rallies like before, where it went from like 6,000 to 12,000 Satoshis. So that would be 2 to 3x from this position. And so while it's not doing much, I might be accumulating more as the time goes on. So Atom actually has been performing a little bit better recently. It was at all the way at 28,000 Satoshis. It's up to like 45,000. So a gain of about 40% or so. And then it had this crazy wick up to like 67,000 Satoshis, which I was lucky to have orders there. And I sold some that night at 64,000, 55,000, or 65,000, 55,000, and 45,000. And then rebought those positions, making a lot more Atom. And this one, because of NMR, seeing how high it could go, I wanted to set some sells for Atom a lot higher, because beforehand my highest sell order was around 80 to 90,000. So I did set one at like 187,000 and about 100,000. So I do have a little bit higher sell orders, and I probably would also put a sell order at like 120,000, 150,000. Now game has gone up from where it was previously, around like 40 to 50 Satoshis, but it hasn't really done much in this past month. It's kind of just been trading sideways, And this is a position that I'm just looking to exit, but I want to try to profit what I can from it. And so I'm hoping to sell the rest between 200 to 300 Satoshis. And so I'll just probably hold on to it and then sell it once it gets in those ranges again. And Balancer is one that I'm just waiting on. I'm hoping that it'll have a really good run up in the near future and go back up to 40 to 50,000 Satoshis like it has done before, which would be double. So that's why it's one of my largest positions. Now, Zelica is one that I recently added, and I added this because it was down and kind of just quiet recently. And so it was trading at 180 Satoshis. I picked some up yesterday around 180, and I saw a couple wicks up to like 210. So I hit a sell around 208, and then I have a buy back at 184. Then I also have a buy at 157 based on these wicks down. So this wick that went up to about 300 also came down to about 150. So that's why I have that buy there. And then I also have two sells, one at 240, 276 based off of that wick. And then if I scroll back, it went up to about 500 Satoshis. And then there was 3 wicks that were to about 450. So because of that, I placed another sell at 437. Oh, and then ZRX has been underperforming. This is one that I'm looking to accumulate more of because I think it's a good long-term hold and it's a good one to trade as well. I did have a trade where I bought some at about 1,400 Satoshis, sold it around 1,700, which is close to those peaks, and then I rebought about 1,470. And if this coin is underperforming longer, then I'll probably pick up more, especially if it gets down to 1,200 or 1,100 Satoshis. Now, these are some coins that I want to add to the portfolio, and these are ones that I added and favorited. So we have Crow, Uniswap, Matic, Dot, Band, KDA, and SNX, Synthetics, and then KNC. So moving forward on this challenge, what I want to continue doing is having half the portfolio in Bitcoin. Now, like, this amount is going to fluctuate all the time. The more Bitcoin that I'm holding, the less it'll fluctuate. So if I was all in altcoins right now, the total amount of Bitcoin is going to fluctuate the most because it's all in these altcoins. So that means it could go up the most, but it could also go down the most. So the last time that I made the mistake of basically having everything all in altcoins, I was up to the all-time highs of 0.17 almost. And then the market crashed and altcoins crashed faster than Bitcoin. And so it brought my account down to 0.11 again. So it was basically like wiping out a lot of those gains, and then I had to build it back up. And so I don't want to make that same mistake again. I want to have like half the account in Bitcoin so that if the market does crash again, I'll hit a lot of my buy orders. And if I don't hit some of those buy orders, I'll be able to use that Bitcoin to buy some cheaper altcoins. And what I do see potentially happening in the near future is once the Feds announce the rates, there could be a potential drop in the market. And if there is a drop, like I was explaining before, we could see a lot of these altcoins drop faster than Bitcoin. Or like, for example, today when the market's going up, Bitcoin typically rallies first. And so you can see a lot of these altcoins be down against Bitcoin. So as you can see, a lot of them are down. And that's what happens when Bitcoin rallies and also when the market drops. And so it's good to have a balance of both so that you're prepared, you're able to buy on those dips. And if you haven't seen these already, make sure to check out the previous episode 4 of this trading series to see the progress that we've made. And you can look at the prices of some of these coins, and you can look at some of these Satoshi values of these coins and how they're different from previous episodes to episodes now. And you can even go back to episode 1 where a lot of these coins were actually a lot higher in Satoshi value than they are now, and we're double our position, which is awesome. And I'm super excited for this challenge to continue and for us to break new all-time highs to 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, and then finally reaching that 1 Bitcoin. And once we reach that 1 Bitcoin, I plan on continuing this challenge and going from 1 Bitcoin to 10 Bitcoins. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, as always, keep it in green.